Alrighty, brothers and sisters, here is what everybody missed about the old season. As if you go right now on comment sections everywhere, on YouTube, on Twitter, everybody you talk with about crypto will tell you old season will not happen. People are getting very desperate. In fact, if you go under the fear and greed index as well, people are into the fear a lot these days. And especially if you look at the Bitcoin dominance continues to grind higher. And if you look at altcoins in general, they are not moving besides Bitcoin, which is grinding now around its all-time high. So the question is here, how does an old season start? What makes an old season happen? Now, we all know that the technicalities of this is that Ethereum needs to pump, Bitcoin dominance needs to dump. Like every time whenever we see Bitcoin dominance going down, that's when we see old season, which has not happened yet. Now, these two things have to happen. Ethereum has to pump, Bitcoin dominance has to go down, and most importantly, the interest rates. So this is the most important factor here. Now, why do we need interest rates to go down? Now, if we have to explain this in a simple way, why do we need interest rates to go down? So that people can pump our bags. Now, today I was scrolling on YouTube and I seen this small channel with 3K subscribers getting 12,000 views on a video called "Should I Take Out a Loan to Buy Bitcoin?" Now, this is crazy because if you know, guys, if you've been around on YouTube, for a channel of 3,000 subscribers, getting 12,000 views is a lot. This is almost 4 times the amount of subscribers. This means this video outperformed by a lot his usual channel. We can see that the trend of this YouTube video is much higher than the usual trend for this channel, which means people are actually searching for how should I take a loan to buy Bitcoin. Now, we all know what loans mean, right? So loans mean that interest rate. When I want to take a loan, for example, in the US, the interest rates now is at 4.5%. That's how much you would need to pay. And for example, in Brazil, it's 15%. And in some other countries like Canada, it's 2.7%. And European Central Bank is 2.15%. Now, I watched this video, and the main concern this guy has is the interest rate that he has to pay back if he go ahead and takes the loan. And most of the people that watch the video are concerned about the interest rates. So this is pretty much how it happens. When the interest rates drop to 0, which means people are not afraid to borrow money anymore, and people actually do buy cryptos using loans, which is very, very risky, and you should never do that, but people do that. Now, we've seen this, and I remember I've seen this play out a lot in 2021. I've seen a lot of people take loans to buy Bitcoin. Even friends are telling me they are waiting for a dip to take a huge loan to buy Bitcoin or buy cryptos. People do see this as an opportunity and somehow a way to invest. And once the interest rates drop, more people have access to easy capital, easy money. And that's what we're actually waiting for to happen. Now, when interest drops to 0, people will have more money to buy altcoins. For now, because the interest rates are high, people don't want to take too much risk because the interest is 4.5%, and 4.5%, they better be sure to be making some money back. That's why they're buying Bitcoin, and that's how Bitcoin is going up. And most importantly, this trend started with Michael Saylor or MicroStrategy by also using loan system or the debt system to buy Bitcoin. And we're seeing a lot of retail take this as an example and also take loans to buy Bitcoin. And that's what happened in 2021 when the interest rates dropped. Exactly after the COVID crash went to 0, started printing money, started giving money away basically for free at 0 interest. People started buying cryptos and investing, trying to make more out of that money they borrowed. And that's what creates this bubble that we call an old season or a bull market. So you can imagine once this drops to 0, people have more money to buy cryptos. So usually they start with Bitcoin, they make money. They have now more money because they paid back their loans. They can buy other things down below here, and it keeps going until everybody or most of the people that started with Bitcoin have a lot of money to buy altcoins. That's how an old season starts, which we have not seen yet because Bitcoin dominance is still growing, indicating that mostly people are buying Bitcoin. So once this goes down, that's how an old season, that's when we know we have an old season. That's why I'm still very confident that old season is coming and has not happened yet. So we're seeing again more bullish stuff happen with Ethereum. So we are seeing something called the Ether strategy versus micro strategy. So micro strategy is for Bitcoin, and we are seeing now Ether strategy, and this is pretty much the micro strategy of Ethereum. Sharplink, which is starting this, raised 425 million to launch ETH treasury. So more and more of these are starting to happen to buy Ethereum. Now we're seeing as well this happen with the ETFs. Now we're seeing a rotation go from Bitcoin only, where institutions and Michael Saylor type of institutions buying Bitcoin. Now they're seeing that they have made decent returns, that Bitcoin is pretty safe. They're moving to the next thing, which is Ethereum. And we're seeing now this start to happen while retail is out, retail is not buying. Pretty much this is telling me and giving me those feelings that retail is again gonna get priced out of an emerging market again. But this is good news for us, because today we're still here. If you're watching today's video, you probably still hold cryptos, you're still here, you're still with us, we're still here, we're still waiting for this to happen, even though it's very boring, even though it's crazy and boring and nothing is happening. But because I personally know and I believe there is a huge alt season coming, and because I see this type of things happening, I do believe people are gonna start to take more and more risk as the interest rates drop to go into alts. This will start with things like treasuries and micro strategy type of stuff happen, and then we see retail, like this YouTuber here, taking loans and buying cryptos, and people taking loans to buy other alts, and that's what creates an alt season. So we come full circle back to rate cuts, and those are what's causing an alt season to not happen yet. Today, Jerome Powell spoke and said that there will be no rate cuts in July, and this has pretty much caused a bit of a pullback on Bitcoin today. Not a big pullback, it's $106,000 per Bitcoin still, so it's a very strong coin, nothing really drops it. But we're seeing a bit of a pullback as the market was expecting July, but now is expecting September. Also, that the Fed said that they are expecting to cut this year. And most importantly, we're seeing Trump push for this. Now we're seeing more and more pushback against the Feds to start cutting rates, and Trump is pushing for that. And that is due to the debt ceiling and the debt that the US has to pay, and the high interest rates that is unsustainable for that high amount of debt that the US has. So it is a matter of time that they actually start cutting, and we're seeing this silently happen with the global liquidity increasing. And that's how we got to, or I personally called it on my channel, that the global liquidity increasing will likely cause another pushback up on Bitcoin. So this happened here. I remember when we had this tariff crash, but then we had a rise because global liquidity is increasing, and it continues to increase because they are printing silently. They are increasing the amount of money, and we can see this as well by looking at the dollar. So the weaker the dollar is, the higher Bitcoin goes, and also it shows us that they are printing more of it. So it's inflating, it's going down, it's getting weaker while Bitcoin is going up. So a lot of things are going towards that rates are gonna drop, and sooner or later they are gonna drop, and once they're gonna drop, we're gonna see the real alt season happening. So far we are just waiting in this boring market, but the good news here is inflows on the ETFs are still high. ETH ETFs again picking up. We're seeing some good news as well when it comes to ETH treasuries. I've seen as well a lot of good stuff happen on Ethereum. Now the reason I talk about Ethereum again for the new people is because Ethereum is the main altcoin here. If it pumps, it creates an alt season. If it doesn't, it makes it harder for other altcoins to pump. Now Ethereum as well, ETH memes are my favorite. Those are gonna see again one of their biggest gains. It's because they are on Ethereum, and people suddenly will wanna bet on the next thing on Ethereum, because Ethereum is gonna get again overpriced for most of them, and ETH ecosystem will be very, very interesting, as well as staking ETFs will happen on Ethereum, and people with the staking rewards are gonna wanna have some high risk, high reward stuff from their easy earned money by staking Ethereum, and they will stay again in the ecosystem, and they're not going to bridge to Solana or some other chain, but rather stay on Ethereum and buy stuff on Ethereum. So that's basically the thesis behind ETH memes. But the point is, we're seeing a lot of stuff happen as well on Ethereum, mainly like USD and stablecoin inflows. Now we got Shopify announced support for stablecoins on Base, which is a layer 2 on Ethereum. Fileverse launched ID sheets or spreadsheets that can natively talk to and interact with smart contracts. Anyway, a lot of good stuff happening on Ethereum. As you can see, it's a big list. A lot is happening on Ethereum, but the most important is what's going to push the price higher, as I said, is the ETFs, the treasuries that are going into Ethereum right now. So a lot of things are bullish while the price is down when it comes to ETH. We're holding a strong support here, and as soon as we get any shift in the markets here, we're going to have a real strong reversal here. And as now we're seeing as well, most of the money that is being accumulated between this range here, the 2000 and the 4000 range, most of it is long-term holders, as we're been ranging here for a long time now, even below this level. So you can say that most of the people that are accumulating here and the institutions are long-term holders, and mostly retail will come after all-time highs on Ethereum, and they will come late again, and that will cause them to rush into the beta plays like ETH memes and other eco coins on Ethereum or other altcoins. This is why actually ETH starts an alt season, because it does make noise when it pumps, and it's the second safest coin in terms of institutions and treasuries buying it. So there are gonna be a lot of inflows coming into it, and retail will mainly be left looking for lower cap plays. But the point of today's video, this is mostly what most people missed about the alt season. It is gonna happen, it just that it's being delayed, and that's how it looks like. It looks like it's being delayed, and that is due to the rates. So as long as people don't have easy money, easy access to taking loans and buying cryptos, we are not going to have a major sustainable pump. But as we know, it is coming, and it's on its way, and it is a matter of time, and we're expecting more cuts to happen this year. And that is why I'm very excited and very confident about an upcoming alt season. All we need now is a strong Ethereum and rate cuts. That's about it. That's really what we need here, and we just need to keep waiting, unfortunately, right? So nobody is happy with that. I'm not happy with that either, to be here waiting this long for an alt season. But guess what? That's what most people expected, a quick, easy way up like we had in 2020, but that's not what we got now, or at least it's being delayed, right? Funny, looking at this now, this ETH chart, you see this double bottom here. We can even argue that this is what we got now here, right? It's just been extended. It took some time. Now here it was a shorter period of time where we got this double bottom, then moon. Now it took much longer, but we got the double bottom. Now this was the bear market bottom, and this was the tariffs bottom, just like we had with the stock market. And here with Ethereum, it just took way too long for it to recover, but it does look very similar. It does look very similar with this double bottom, then moon, double bottom. Now likely we see this continue. Anyways, guys, hope this was helpful. Stay strong, hold strong, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.